Well, first, let me tell you what I'm not. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not a therapist, and I don't have any alphabets behind my name. I am just me. Someone who has been living with depression pretty much all my life. I've had some form or some level of depression since I was a young child. In 2005 is when the monster completely took over, and I have been up and down in a spiral ever since then. Living with this illness is not easy. And so a couple of years ago, I went looking for information on Black women living with depression. And it was very hard to find information on depression or mental illness itself in the minority community. Most of the books were outdated. Most of the information was outdated. So I decided, with the help of some friends, that I was going to start a blog journaling my life with depression. And it is not a pretty journey. It could be pretty dark sometimes, but it's my story. And so I share the different, I want to say, the ups and downs of living with this illness. I share resources. I tell you where I find pretty much all the stuff that I look for. I share resources with how you can get help. I share resources with how you can find doctors. I share resources with how to interview your doctors when it's that time for you to find a therapy. But most of all, I use my voice to let you guys know that you're not alone. Millions of us live with this illness. Millions of us live with various forms of mental illness, and it's time to erase the stigma. There's nothing wrong with you, just like if you had a heart problem. It's valid. There's nothing wrong with you if you're living with mental illness, especially in our communities. This is a taboo subject. We have generations and generations of people that have suffered with some form of mental illness, but it's not something that we talk about. I know that in my family, there are many people who have lived with this illness, and it's time for us to make it okay to talk about it, because we're losing so many people to suicide and to overdoses, and just because they're scared to talk about it, or just because they're ashamed to talk about it. So we have to bring this to the forefront. So that is the main reason why I started my journey, because I wanted to know that I wanted Black women like myself to know that it's okay. I wanted Black moms like myself to know that it's okay. I wanted kids to know that it's okay to live with this illness and to survive with this illness. It gets dark sometimes, but there's always a way out. So join me on my journey into the world of depression. Thank you. Well, you know how you have monsters hidden under your bed and you're terrified of those? Well, this is a monster that is not under your bed. It sort of sits on you. It encompasses you, and it takes over. And monster, I call it my monster. And you will see in the mental illness community that a lot of people refer to it as a monster, because that is the darkest thing that you can think of. And it's a way to explain how huge this illness is and how much it overtakes your world. So that's why we call it the monster. I haven't given mine a name yet, but maybe one day. I Get You and I Got You started as hashtags because, you know, over on Instagram and everybody everywhere in the world now, you have to have hashtags. And so I started using those as hashtags, but they are a part of my platform because I get why you're down. I get why there are days when you can't get out of bed. I get why there are days when you don't want to talk to anybody. I get why some days you may not want to be here anymore. So that hashtag is showing you that you are not alone. And I Got You started as a hashtag because I wanted you to know that everything that I do is to help you. I share the ups and the downs. I share what you're feeling and what what you may not be able to say. So I got you means that I got you. I'm going to let people know that you're living with this illness and that it's okay and you're going to be okay. My voice is your voice came because Erase the Stigma, which is a common hashtag, didn't say enough. I needed people to understand that I'm using my platform to let people know what it's like to live with this disease and how to function within the disease. And there are so many people who are ashamed of living with a mental illness. There are so many people that don't know that they have a mental illness. They don't know what the symptoms are. They don't know what they're feeling. And so I use my voice to amplify their voice.